The Lord be with you. What is in your pandemic playlist? What are those things that if you were stranded on a desert island, you would want to sort of keep you company, things to help distract you, things to maybe even give you some kind of encouragement through the times that you're going through the waiting, through the suffering, just through the craziness. This has kind of been an evolving way to look at arts and entertainment, books, videos, movies, TV series or short form series. We've looked at a lot of things over the last dozen or so episodes, and today we want to continue that, this time with a song. We're back to music again. And the song that I want to recommend for your pandemic playlist is the song Fields of Gold by Sting. Now, full disclosure, I am not a longtime Sting fan. I remember growing up with his music on the radio when he was in the band The Police. But that really wasn't my cup of tea back then. So I didn't necessarily have a strong attraction to him. I didn't listen to a lot of his music. When it was on the radio, I could listen to it or I could scan just as easily. And it wasn't until kind of his solo career that I started to appreciate him a little bit more. As a matter of fact, in recent years, I've seen several videos just about the complexity and the artistry that he uses when he composes songs. These are things that are completely off the radar for me, so it's interesting and fascinating to hear other people talk about him as a songwriter and why he should be considered a good songwriter. But I would say Fields of Gold was probably the first song of his that I heard on the radio that I really liked, that I actually sort of would stop and listen to on a regular basis. The song came out in 1993, and shortly thereafter, one of my roommates in college had bought his album. And this was back in the days when we were exchanging music all the time and listening to what our friends and our people who lived on the same dormitory floor as us were listening to. So that was, I remember borrowing the album and listening to this song over and over again. I think one of the appealing things about Fields of Gold for me is it has both kind of a romantic as well as a melancholy sound to it. Obviously, the repeating line is Fields of Gold. We walked in fields of gold. And he equates the gold with barley. I found out after the fact that apparently his home in England did overlook a barley field, and that was part of the inspiration for the imagery used in the song. But it also has a very narrative quality in it, kind of a chronological progression of this relationship that's told in the lyrics. So you definitely get towards the beginning this idea of a man and a woman, people who fall in love there at these barley fields. You get the impression that they are looking for commitment from one another. There are some long-term questions posed in the song. And then at the end, you get this imagery of children and the sun going down on the fields of gold. And you almost get the idea that the couple who is in the story have either aged or are passing. And that fields of gold imagery becomes symbolic for the entirety of their relationship. There are also two contrasting images. Fields of Gold, obviously, which is the title that gets used for the very earthy existence of the couple in the song. They're the ones who walk in the fields of gold. They lie in the fields of gold. They talk about at the end, we'll remember the days when we walked amongst the fields of gold. But then the contrasting image that gets repeated in that is the sun in its jealous sky. So you almost get this contrast between heaven and earth, the cosmic and the finite. It gives me a strong impression of mortality, even if by that I'm not necessarily referring to death, but just this human journey of how things evolve and how things sort of have a built-in shelf life to them. But there are these internal things that we feel that can be eternal, or at least glimpses of eternity, from our love to our commitments to one another, to sort of a family line, a genealogy, people who preceded us and people who succeed after us. And all of that is kind of encapsulated in the song. To me, it almost reminds me of the wisdom literature in the Bible, where there are things that are both sad and frustrating, as well as beautiful and just very difficult to understand it. It's a great mystery. And I certainly think that song does that in a beautiful, simplistic way. It's kind of a feel-good song to me, but I recognize there's a very heavy overtone of melancholy to it. And that to me is kind of like life. My favorite line is kind of a bridge into the last verse, into the instrumental section before the last verse. The person in the song says, I've never made promises lightly, and there have been some that I've broken, but I swear in the days still left, we will walk in fields of gold. And that to me is just a great line about life, that there are things, especially in our younger years, that maybe we regret, maybe we think we could have done better, but we get a chance. Sometimes we get a second chance or a third chance. And when God kind of opens up this beautiful opportunity and you take it, you shouldn't make your promise lightly. You shouldn't make your covenant lightly with somebody else. But to do so and to enjoy those fields of gold, those moments of bliss and happiness under heaven, as the author of Ecclesiastes would say, that's a good thing, and that's a good thing to embrace. So I'm going to recommend this for you. Give it a listen. I'm going to have a link to the song in the description section below here in YouTube, so you can listen to it. And let me know. Again, we treat this particular series, this pandemic playlist series, as an interactive environment where we can share things with one another. We can test things. We can maybe expand our thoughts on entertainment and such. So give it a listen and post in the comments below. Did you like it? Have you heard it before? Even before you re-listen to it again. Do you learn anything new from it this time? Do you like it better? Do you not like it? Were you a Sting fan for your entire life, or is Sting not your cup of tea? And even other recommendations. If you have anything for our virtual community of books, movies, TV shows, music that you would recommend, feel free to do so as well. And we will continue testing each other's ideas and thoughts about things that have been helpful and hopeful to us. But also we'll keep doing these reviews so that we can keep seeing God kind of behind the scenes in the art that inspires us, and even the art in the culture around us. So until the next time, may the peace of God be with you. Amen.